For thousands of years, humans believed the earth beneath their feet was solid, unmoving, reliable. We built cities, borders, civilizations, and empires on the idea that the ground would always stay where it was. Mountains felt permanent. Continents felt fixed. The planet felt stable. But today, scientists are admitting something deeply unsettling. The Earth is not as still as we believed. In fact, the planet is quietly rearranging itself, and humans noticed it far later than we should have. This movement isn't loud. There are no explosions, no dramatic cracks splitting the land in half. That's what makes it dangerous. Modern satellites orbiting hundreds of kilometers above us are now detecting ground shifts in places where no earthquakes exist. Entire regions are slowly rising, others sinking, not over centuries, but within a human lifetime. In some areas, continents are lifting upward as if the earth is taking a slow breath. In others, land is stretching and thinning, almost imperceptibly, but measurably, and it doesn't stop there. The planet's magnetic field, the invisible shield that protects all life from the solar radiation, is behaving in ways scientists did not fully expect. It's drifting, weakening in places, strengthening in others, not suddenly, not catastrophically, but steadily. Then there's the ice. As massive ice sheets melt, billions of tons of weight are being removed from the planet's surface. When that weight disappears, the Earth responds. The crust rises, pressure deep inside the planet shifts. Balance changes. This isn't speculation. This isn't guesswork. It's data. Cold, precise measurements, collected by instruments that don't panic, don't exaggerate, and don't imagine things. And that leads us to a difficult realization. For most of human history, we couldn't see these changes. We didn't have the technology. We didn't have the perspective. Now we do. And what we're seeing challenges one of our oldest assumptions, that the Earth is a passive stage where human history simply plays out. It isn't. The Earth is active, responsive, dynamic, quietly adjusting itself in ways that don't ask for our permission. This isn't a movie. This isn't a theory. This is measured data, wired, and it's happening right now. To understand what's happening, we need to clear up one simple truth. The Earth has never been still. Beneath the surface, massive tectonic plates have always been moving, slowly sliding, colliding, separating, and reshaping the planet over millions of years. This process created mountains, oceans, and continents long before humans ever existed. That part isn't new. What is new is how and where this movement is happening. Scientists are now confirming that in some regions, these movements are becoming faster, more noticeable, and more complex than expected. In other areas, the Earth is shifting in places that were once considered geologically stable, locations with little to no history of major seismic activity. And the biggest surprise, some of these changes are being amplified by human-driven forces. As global ice melts, something remarkable happens. Ice sheets that once weighed billions of tons begin to disappear. That weight had been pressing down on the Earth's crust for thousands of years. When it's removed, the land underneath begins to rise. A process scientists call rebound. This is now being observed as ground uplift in parts of North America, where land is slowly lifting upward by measurable amounts. Not suddenly, not violently, but steadily. At the same time, melting ice adds enormous volumes of water to the oceans. That water doesn't just raise sea levels, it redistributes weight across the planet. Ocean floors feel that pressure. Coastlines feel it. And deep inside the Earth, stress patterns begin to change. Even deeper, scientists are detecting pressure shifts within the mantle, the thick layer beneath the crust. These changes don't trigger instant disasters, but they influence how heat and material move inside the planet. The same processes that drive volcanoes, earthquakes, and continental drift over long timescales. This is why researchers are paying such close attention, because when billions of tons of ice melt and oceans shift, the Earth doesn't stay silent. It responds. Not emotionally, not dramatically, but physically. And here's the most important part. This does not mean the planet is ending. It does not mean catastrophe is inevitable. It means the planet is doing what it has always done, adjusting to new conditions. The difference now is that humans are part of those conditions. For the first time, we can measure these responses in real time. We can watch the planet breathe, flex, and rebalance itself. Understanding this doesn't create fear, it creates awareness. Because you can't respond to change until you're willing to see it. The most uncomfortable question isn't what is happening to the Earth, it's why we didn't notice sooner. The answer isn't ignorance, it isn't denial. It's something far more human. Time. The Earth operates on a scale that the human mind struggles to grasp. Mountains rise and erode over tens of thousands of years. Continents drift at the speed our fingernails grow. Deep planetary processes don't announce themselves in headlines or breaking news alerts. Humans, on the other hand, think in decades, election cycles, economic forecasts, lifetimes. We expect change to be visible, immediate, and dramatic. Okay, so if something doesn't happen fast enough to disrupt our daily routine, we assume it isn't happening at all. That mismatch in timescale created a blind spot. The Earth was changing, just not in a way we were trained to notice. Then there's the second reason. Technology. For most of human history, we simply didn't have the tools to see these shifts. Ground movement measured in millimeters. Magnetic changes spread across continents. Subtle uplifts and slow sinking invisible from the ground. Accurate satellite data capable of tracking these movements is extremely recent. Only in the last few decades have we been able to observe the planet as a whole, continuously, precisely, and objectively. Before that, we were standing too close to the picture to understand what it showed. It wasn't that the data didn't exist, we just couldn't collect it. And finally, there's distraction. While the Earth was shifting quietly, humanity was busy building, consuming, expanding. We focused on growth, speed, and convenience. Cities rose higher. Populations spread wider. Technology advanced faster than our understanding of its long-term impact. Our attention stayed locked on what was immediate and profitable, not on slow signals without obvious short-term consequences. The planet didn't scream. It whispered, and whispers are easy to ignore in a noisy world. But here's the truth that scientists are now openly acknowledging. The warning signs were never hidden. We just weren't looking in the right direction. Not because we didn't care, but because our systems, priorities, and expectations were built for a different kind of world. Now, for the first time, we're stepping back far enough to see the full picture. And it's forcing a shift in perspective. This isn't about guilt. It isn't about blame. It's about maturity. Understanding that living on a dynamic planet requires attention not just to sudden disasters, but to slow, silent changes unfolding beneath our feet. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. The question now isn't why we realized it late. It's what we choose to do now that we finally understand. So what does all of this mean for the future? Not panic, not doom, not fear. It means awareness. As the Earth continues to adjust, we will likely see increased ground stress on infrastructure, roads, pipelines, bridges, and buildings that were designed for a planet we believed was more stable than it actually is. These systems won't fail overnight, but they will demand better planning, better materials, and better long-term thinking. This is why monitoring systems are becoming more important than ever. Satellites, sensors, and global data networks allow us to detect subtle changes before they become serious problems. Early awareness doesn't create fear, it creates time. Time to adapt, time to respond intelligently instead of react emotionally. And perhaps most importantly, city planning must evolve. Future cities won't just be designed for population growth, but for geological reality, smarter foundations, flexible infrastructure, development that respects how the land beneath it actually behaves, not how we assume it should. Here is the message that matters most. The Earth is not angry. The Earth is correcting balance. It has done this before, long before humans existed, and it will continue long after we are gone. The difference now is that we are conscious participants in that process. That awareness is powerful because when you understand that the planet is alive with motion, you stop treating it like an unchanging object and start treating it like a system you must coexist with. Every generation believes the planet belongs to them. But the truth is, we are just temporary passengers on a living world, and passengers have a responsibility to pay attention. If this made you think, yeah, share it. Because awareness is not weakness. It's not fear. Awareness is the first step towards survival.